Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. So today we are going to talk about the INT Gogeta EZA, which will be dropping on JP. I try and normally put these out about 12 hours before. I think by the time this goes up, it's like 11 hours before it comes out. But it gives people some time, especially for JP. I know a lot of players are in the US, so it's the evening when it comes out for them. So you've still got a good few hours of the day if you want to have any interaction in the comments, get any extra tips or anything like that, because as always I'll be going over my top picks and then some honorable mentions, and you guys can let me know down below any units that you think that I should have talked about. So for the INT Gogeta EZA, the weakness is movie bosses. It's a standard 30 stage EZA, and then the key thing that we always want to look at is come down here to see what the restrictions are for stage 20 and beyond. So 80% damage reduction against AGL, Tech, STR, and Super types. So basically you want to comprise your team fully of extreme physical and extreme int only. You can bring units of the other typings, especially like if you need to fill gaps in your team, you could bring units that are like very strong tanks, like AGL Golden Frieza for example, and they'll still be able to defend well, but they just won't be able to deal any damage. So that's something you have to bear in mind. So obviously if you get all the way through, you get all of the medals to EZA INT Gogeta, and from the videos that we've seen since the data download, he is quite a beast, and you get enough INT orbs to, I think it's enough to fully rainbow a unit, and then of course you get 11 INT Kais and 34 stones when you do all the missions. So obviously this is the reason why people prefer normal EZAs over Extreme Z areas. So yeah, movie bosses is obviously a decently sized category, but as you can see, when it comes to just the sheer number of like TURs and LRs for each typing, it's definitely not as big as some of the other categories. So we're going to go over some of the key picks here. So obviously you've got the physical Dragon Ball Super Broly. He is the movie bosses leader, with the, I believe, still with the highest leader skill in terms of the attack percentage, at least, having 170 and then 150 for HP and defense, and then obviously has the subset for full power as well. He's really good. Obviously his AoE is not really needed, but he auto supers. He's not necessarily the best unit defensively, but in these kind of EZAs, just the fact that he's got type advantage and is in the bonus category, he won't be taking crazy amounts of damage until you get much later into the event. Especially if you start trying to go past stage 30, which I know some people still do. I haven't done it as much anymore lately, but I still try and get up to like 40 or 50 on some of them just for something to do. So let me know in the comments if that is something you like to do as well. Let us know the highest stage that you've gotten to in any EZA, because I know the AGL Broly one, I'm in like the 300s somewhere. So then, of course, we have the LR, Broly, Chilai, and Lemo. They are another physical unit that is also a movie boss's lead. If you're bringing a team that has a bunch of LRs, this could be useful because they give 4 key with their leader skill, and then it's 132 stats. And then they do buff the rest of extreme physical as well, if you do have to fill in any gaps in your team with non-movie bosses. So this unit is really good. They're really interesting because of the way they are designed. So you can use them as a support unit, or obviously you can go for like physical orbs and just have them as a main source of damage. I think they'll definitely be useful on this team, especially if you want to start going to the higher stages, because you can then target like the tech and int orbs with them specifically, so that they buff everybody on the rotation's defense, which will definitely come in very useful. So they're a good addition or a good replacement leader as well. So then, of course, the other movie boss's leader is Turles. Now, unfortunately, he's extreme AGL, so not only is he not going to get any extra sort of defense against the INT Gogeta, but he's not going to be able to do any damage because of that restriction once you get past stage 20. But if you don't have any other choice and you don't want to run a mono team, because we'll look at some other physical units, but they basically just have extreme physical leader skills. So you might end up having to bring this guy and then just bringing like one of the Brolys or the LR Broly trio as a friend. And then you just keep this guy as an off-rotation floating unit. He's going to support everybody, which is good. He will take a bit of damage as you get towards the end. But if he transforms, he can actually be quite tanky. But of course, he's still not really going to do any damage, and you can't stun. So he's definitely a filler unit, I guess, if you need the movie boss's lead. If you have any other movie bosses lead, even for his support, I probably wouldn't bring him on the team. So moving over to the more extreme physical focus, we have the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. He has a 4 key and 100% to stats for physical types, so you could use him as a leader if you're going to go for like a full extreme physical movie bosses team, which is possible to make. This guy builds up over time, so in the later stages, maybe in the first turn or two, he might take a bit of damage, but he's always going to do multiple super attacks, so he does build up fairly quickly. And being a unit with the type advantage and just doing multiple supers, he's obviously going to dish out quite a lot of damage. In the early stages, probably even like maybe the first 10, this guy could potentially just be one-shotting Gogeta by doing like 2 or 3 super attacks. And if you get some crits, you're just going to be doing a ton of damage in those early stages. So another unit who functions similarly and obviously does have a slightly better leader skill. I probably should have put him before the Broly, but is the Cooler. Even though he still doesn't have his EZA, he's still a very good unit in this event specifically. Like, he's definitely one of the better extreme physical movie boss units, and he gives 120 to extreme physical. Again, like Broly, he can do multiple super attacks, so in the early stages he's definitely going to be dishing out tons of damage and taking Gogeta down very, very quickly. So another good physical unit to bring is the free-to-play Golden Frieza. He has damage reduction, so he can sort of hold his own until it starts to get a lot harder. And then, of course, he does buff movie bosses category allies, so he fits perfectly onto the team. And if you are bringing units like Cooler, or some of the other units we'll go over soon for the INT types, he's going to have the Wicked Bloodline type links as well to link up well with them. Plus, of course, you could always put him in slot 1, and when he super attacks, he raises the rest of the team's attack by 30% for 1 turn, since you're only really going to be bringing extreme types. So he's definitely useful, even if you just use him as an off-rotation support unit. So I think this is the last physical one, but the Physical Lord Slug is not a bad choice. So his links aren't necessarily the best, depending on how you build the team. And he's not super powerful, but he's decent enough defensively to hold his own. And then, of course, with EZAs, the giant form units can actually be really useful, because once you transform, unfortunately, his giant mode doesn't have any kind of passive, so he doesn't get any extra key. So you are going to need 6 key to super with him, unless you've bought double Broly trio leads, which would make it easier. So that he's definitely a good unit to use on that build. You basically just get 2 turns of free damage. So even in the harder stages, if you end up getting his transformation near to the end of the fight, when your health was potentially getting a little bit low, you can then just finish him off with the giant form version. So even though he's not the best unit on the category by any means, he's definitely useful. I think giant form units are really useful in EZAs for that reason. So moving on, so INT types are the only other types you can use that can really deal damage. So I mean, when it comes to INT movie bosses, Janemba with his EZA is definitely going to be very, very good. The fact that he guards means it doesn't matter that Gogeta's INT. So if you can get him into that position where you put him in the first slot and get his passive to activate, he's going to be dealing tons of damage, especially like if you've link leveled him. Remember, most of the units on this team are going to have big bad bosses, so he gets hit in that first slot, gets his passive active, big bad boss is active, like the first few stages he's easily going to be one-shotting Gogeta, so I feel like he's definitely a must include on the team as long as you're running a actual movie bosses lead. Obviously, if you go for the physical lead units, you can't use any of these INT ones, but if you're using a movie bosses lead, this guy I feel like is an auto include, because he is just that good. So then we have the LR Bojack. He's a unit that, like the Slug, he's not going to necessarily link up super well with the team. So it might be difficult to get his 18 key super, depending on if you bring supports or units that can link fairly well with him. But obviously, again, he's a unit that's very good defensively, so it's not going to matter too much that he's not a physical type in terms of like guarding with the type advantage. He should still be able to tank reasonably well. And he's able to deal quite a lot of damage. And of course, if you do get the orbs to fall in your favor and you maybe have some support, if you can get his 18 key super, he raises everybody's attack by 40% as well. So the rest of the turn, you're going to do a ton more damage. And then, of course, the further you get into the fight and you start to get to low health, he's going to become really, really good at tanking. So I think he definitely is a useful unit to use. But then we have the LR Metal Cooler Army, so another free-to-play option. Again, we've already covered a couple of Wicked Bloodline units, so this guy would fit really well into the team with them. He can obviously do multiple attacks, so if you have this guy Rainbow, decent amount of additional. He has the potential to launch like 4 super attacks in one turn, because each of his 2 additionals can be supers, and then if he gets one from the hidden potential system as well, potential for 4 super attacks, so he can definitely deal out quite a lot of damage, and he's obviously going to link up decently well with the other Wicked Bloodline units we've covered, and then especially with this guy, the actual INT standalone Metal Cooler. So he's a really good support unit. Even if you're not bringing many other Wicked Bloodline types, he's going to be pretty decent for supporting the team with key and defensively. Gives attack as well, but a little bit more on the defense. So again, units like him, especially because he has Shattering the Limit, like if you have this guy on the rotation and you've brought LR Bojack, it's going to be a lot easier to get his 18 key super. And then yeah, if you bring like the Metal Cooler Core, the Physical Freezer, and then like Physical Final Form Cooler, like all of these links are going to be fairly easy to activate. So obviously he became a very solid unit after his EZA. I still use him on my Movie Bosses team, so I think he is a very good choice for a support as long as you're running the Movie Bosses lead. So yeah, that was the top picks. We're going to have a quick scroll down. Considering we can only use INT and Physical, we basically covered all the LRs. The Beerus units don't really fit in well at all. We didn't cover them because super types get the damage nerf, and most of the Beerus units are not great defensively. You only use them for damage. So yeah, he's definitely not going to be very useful. This Golden Freezer can be okay, but he stacks... is it stacks defense or does he stack attack? Yeah, he stacks defense, but obviously EZAs, unless you're getting super far into it, they don't go like a load of turns. And then of course you're not facing an enemy whose name includes Goku, so he's not going to get the free like high chance to crit. He does give target Goku allies key +2 and attack and defense 30%, and there are quite a few target Goku units that we covered, so he could actually be a pretty decent choice to fill in on the team. Going back to Movie Bosses, there we go. Yeah, that's kind of it. Android 13 only really is good on an Android-centric team. The TUR of Bojack, obviously, I mean, if you've got him and you're running the LR, then that'd be decent. And then, yeah, we literally covered all of the extreme physical Movie Bosses because this is just the TUR version of the LR trio. So there you go. If you think I missed out any units or you think any other units would be useful, let me know down below in the comments. Let us know what team you are planning to use. And obviously, if you guys have any other questions or need any more help with your team building, just let us know in the comment section down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the link to my Discord in the description as well. We have a team building section and all that stuff over there, so feel free to join. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.